Hey guys, Tracy here, Ken's Garden Guy Summer Pick Farms. What's up? Well, I'm going to start this morning looking for damage. We just had the first storm roll through this morning. It looks like it's been 100, 102, 103 here the last like 2 or 3 days. And just kind of walking through the garden to see if there's any damage going on. Looks like we got a bunch of little limbs down from these big maple trees I have in the front yard. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of walk around and want to check the birds, make sure the girls are okay. Hey girls, chirp, 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 chirp. Looks like they're now venturing outside. Looks like the Barred Rock girls have been out, but the new girls are all kind of inside. I think they're still not used to the weather yet, you know. So I got a lot of little limbs down here. I need to get out here and pick these up. So I don't mow them, but everything looks good. Pumpkins look okay. They're a little worse for wear. They said we had 68 mile an hour winds. The pumpkins and zucchinis are going to be the ones that fare the worst because, you know, it doesn't take much of a wind for a plant like that to kind of get all jacked up. So I kind of did an initial walkthrough just a second ago, and everything looks okay. The tunnels came out good. I will tell you this though. Now, this is the only high tunnels I've ever had. I've been lucky enough to have one of the best companies as high tunnels. It's Bootstrap Farmer, you guys know. I'm affiliate for them, and I also give you my God's honest opinion. It's not biased by any means. If it was not good, I would not be working with them. That's just the type of person I am. But yeah, so the squash and zucchini got a little bit pushed with that wind coming from the west, but you know what? They'll come out. Man, we got some terrible lightning. I don't want to be out here too long. But yeah, this all metal kit came out really, really well. I just always like this. With all these trees I got around my house, I'm just afraid one day one of these limbs is just gonna come hauling. Looks like that second storm's coming, unless I wanna get all wet. But yeah, so even the DIY tunnels here, as you can see, they look really well. They say they will rate, I think, over 100 mile an hour wind. I think it's like 128, 118, 138, something like that. It's ridiculous. And yeah, even the DIYs that you build yourself are rated pretty high. So I haven't had any issues with them at all. I just thought I would kind of show you guys what us farmers, market gardeners, even big ag farmers kind of do after storms. Kind of walk around, assess any damage that needs to be taken care of, and then get it appropriately done. But I'm gonna step back inside while it's raining right now. I probably should be out in the tunnel working on cucumbers because that stuff is a mess. But I'm gonna give it an hour or so. This next storm is supposed to be coming, and it's supposed to be worse than the one we just had. We had it was like 30 minutes of a storm. This one is starting to come. You can see the skies to the west are a little dark. So I'm gonna step inside for a bit and then I'll come right back with you. Hey guys, all right, I am back. It is the next day. I spent yesterday after the storms, yesterday afternoon, I worked in the cucumber tunnel. We'll go through there and I'll show you what's going on, but I thought I'd just take you a tour through the tomato tunnel. I'm pretty happy. I noticed yesterday things are coming around. You guys remember when you guys watched my video last week, we were talking about lowering and leaning. This is that time of year that we're doing this like all the time. So we are going to lower and lean some tomatoes today in that cucumber tunnel. If you guys remember, we do have that center row of heirlooms. So we are going to lower and lean those. I finally got caught up to where I could get those ready to go. This tunnel's been completely lowered and leaned. Everything's been lowered and leaned. But look at this stevia. Remember we talked about these? Look at these tomatoes. Everything is starting to blush now. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to start to pull these off. Actually, they're a little too late to do what I usually do. Usually when, oh, that one's got damage. See that one? Yep, that one's no good. That one goes to the chickens. When they start to just change that color just a little bit, you notice that right there? That's when I like to pull those off. And then we have some stacking trays. Stack them in there, put them in the basement with a little bit of airflow. That way it'll kind of slow down the ripening process. Because once these start to blush, they as they ripen, they start to put off a gas, and that gas helps ripen the other tomatoes. That's how everything kind of moves its way down the line. Especially if you use a confined space like we do, that happens a lot faster, especially with these warmer temperatures. Luckily, my basement stays about 60, 65 degrees. I would like it to be 50, But my basement is a full basement, and it would cost me a fortune to air conditioning that just to get it down to 50. So I run a fan through there. I do have one of those little small portable one room ACs that I bought, and I might try that in my grow tent and then stack the tomatoes in there and see if I can get some airflow. But anyway, the cherries are really doing good. They are ready to be picked. As you can see, they're starting to really pop now, which is awesome. You can see how that lower and lean technique really works out great. Yeah, I really, really like that. As you can see, these are going to start to just fill out too, just like these little ones here. But even the row of large red is starting to pop. So I just thought I'd kind of show you that. I'm kind of excited about that. So this is the time of year. Once again, if you guys are just now finding my channel, welcome. My name is Tracy. Me and my wife, Kim, we run a farm here in Northeast Kansas called Summer Pick Farms. You guys can follow us on Instagram or Facebook there. Ask any questions you want. Or if you're local and you want to buy some stuff on the farm, or just come check out a market farm that's close to you that you've never seen before, hit me up. I'm pretty open when it comes to that kind of stuff. You guys know that I put my life on YouTube and social media. And so you have to be open to people asking questions or people wanting to come check you out. And I am very transparent with everything I do, from the prices I pay for things to the heartache and tribulations and wins that happen here on the farm. But now that we got that out of the way, yeah, so I was pretty excited. I thought maybe I'd show you guys what's been going on. I love a clean tunnel. The cool thing is, here in a week or two, that commercial customer that we grow for, wants to do a photo shoot out here for some poster boards that they're going to put on their premises about how they're supporting local, how they're buying local, how they're using local to feed people. And so, yeah, I got to clean this joint up. Especially that mess right there where that other high tunnel is going to go. I kind of want to clean that up. I hate it when people come out here and things look awry. I mean, it's like sleepless nights for me. But yeah, this is the tomato row. You guys see the cucumbers I cleaned. Look at that. Doesn't that look so much better now? I went through these yesterday and pulled some of the sickly small plants that weren't going to make it out. As you can see, there's some gaps right there. And then I kept just the best looking plants in here. And you can see this. Oh, man, I cannot say enough about these Excelsior. I love these cucumbers. They are great tasting. And I'm not a cucumber person, and I like them. So that tells you something. But you can kind of see the racetrack here. As these start to grow on and we start to add more length to this every week, you can see how these are laying down now, and there's nothing but bare stem. And that's what you want, because you can't eat stem and you can't eat leaves. You eat fruit. So what you're doing is, like I said, you're condensing that fight or flight technique into that plant. And it's not putting energy into the leaves that you don't want. It's putting energy into setting more fruit, as you can see, like this, and then getting that fruit to harvest. Look at all the blooms. Look at all the cucumbers. So that is the purpose behind it. I know it looks weird because it looks like you're stripping everything down and the plants look like they're, trust me, it's not hurting the plants at all. People have been doing this for years and years. Didn't invent the technique. I am not the owner of this technique. I just use the technique like hundreds and hundreds of market gardeners use across the United States every day. But this mess, look at this. Yeah, see all this? Suckers galore. We're going to come through here today, and I'm going to break some hearts. So anyway, you guys stay tuned. All right, now that I got my mic on, I can talk to you guys while I'm working. So yeah, it's nice and cool today, thank God. Yesterday, we had those storms come through. You guys saw the first part of the video. That was just one of the first storms that rolled through. Luckily, the second part of the storm just barely missed us by a couple miles. So we did get a little bit of wind, but we did not get any more rain. Let me turn you around and show you yesterday. Can you see that? The high yesterday got to 118 degrees inside the tunnel with 99% humidity in here yesterday. And this is what I was working in to get this row of Excelsior done, because usually I don't put myself in that dangerous of a situation. We've talked about this before. You guys have to be really, really careful in the heat. I am terrible at it. My wife, she scolded me yesterday for being out here yesterday by myself doing this. I have a tendency of just getting stuff done because it's got to get done. Nobody else is going to be here to do it. So I forced through yesterday. I took multiple breaks. I always get those little, you guys ever still, I mean, I'm 51 years old and I still eat those little pop ice ices. I know they're probably not good for you, but man, it just takes me right back to being 6, 7, 8 years old out here running around with my little brother and just riding bikes, shooting BB guns, no shirt on, just out doing our thing. That's what we did as country kids. We had our bikes, our BMX bikes, our BB guns, a fishing pole, and some ices, and that was like a good day. And a lot of things have happened since that time, and sometimes every time I eat those ices, it just takes me back, 40 plus some years ago to when I used to sit out here with my little brother under a tree and eat ices and just argue, or play ball or play catch or ride bikes or something like that. It was always a good time back then. But yeah, so we're going to get started on this, and I really honestly don't know where to start. Like I said, it's kind of out of control. I think what I may do is I'm one of those guys that like to think things out, and I know that is the entrance and exit there. So what I may do is I may start at the front, work my way back so I can go around and then come back and then loop out for lunch. It is 8 o'clock or a little bit past 8 right now. So it should take me about 2 hours to get this done. There may be, what I like to do is I like to do a whole row, take like a 30-minute break or a 45-minute break or hour, whatever I want to take, depending how hot and muggy it is. And then I come back and finish the other one. Then I get ready for lunch about 11 o'clock, hang out for a couple hours inside the AC to get myself recharged. Then I come back out and do another row. And then by then, it should get me close to 3:30, 4 o'clock. That's when I usually like to close up shop, is about 4 o'clock, because usually by then it's so hot. Then I make dinner for my wife and me, or my wife and I, and then when the sun starts to set about 7:30, 8 o'clock, when it starts to get a little cooler, then I like to come out and water the outside items. But I don't think I'm going to have to do that today since we had that good rain. But yeah, enough yakking. Let me show you what I'm doing here. Get my clips, put in my bag. I'm going to have to order me another set of clips this weekend. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to just attack it from the front here. I'm going to grab this first plant here, and you notice we do have a little bit of some blight down below there. It's from all this humidity. So we want to take care of that. We want to get that out of here, which is another purpose why we do have this landscaping fabric that's down on the ground. I can throw everything on here and then just take a leaf rake and rake it all to the front, pick it up, put it in my dump trailer, and then take it to dispose of it and burn it. But what I like to do is I like to clear all the stems. We talked about this. Down here at the base, you've got these little suckers that kind of grow out of those little nodes. You want to get rid of those dads. Want to come through here. This is an indeterminate tomato. So this is Cherokee Purple and Brandywine and German Johnson. Pretty sure this is German Johnson here. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not a big heirloom tomato guy. But you can see we've got a lot of fruit set here. So I want to come through. We pulled the first set of leaves off. I may go, you know what? Just for giggles, let's pull these off. There you go. See, now that looks a lot better. So what we're doing in here is we are trying to decide which way to go. We've talked about this before. I like to take the suckers off. This is, now, once again, if you guys are squeamish or have any type of issues like that, you may want to look away. What I'm about to do will probably break some hearts today. So I'm just giving you a warning ahead of time. It is what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, look away, and I'm going to cut this off. Whew. All right, we just ripped the Band-Aid off. Everybody's okay. Nobody got hurt. So just kind of a little joke. A lot of people, my wife especially, hates it when I do this. But yeah, so you've got to cut these suckers. You can see here, you got your main stem. I only do a 1-stem lead. I don't do 2-stem leads. We've talked about that already in the past. I'd like to do a 1-stem lead. So yeah, I will get rid of all these suckers, which are potential plants, potential fruit, but I want to concentrate my fruit to one main stem. That way I can build and grow the best fruit possible. That's what the goal is here, market farming. It's not to grow a ton of little fruit. I want to grow a lot of good sized fruit. So we'll come through here and we'll put a clip up. And you notice how this has not started to grow. It's still got about another 3 feet yet, so I'm not going to lower and lean this. I may not lower and lean any of these, to be honest, depending, because none of them are really to the height that I really like it to be before I attempt to do the lower and lean method. Yeah, so none of these are really to the height I like them to be before I do the lower and lean. Oh, this is going to kill a lot of people here. This one here is definitely going to break some hearts today. That's okay. I was told once a long time ago that I was going to be a heartbreaker. So, you know what? I'm living up to my my namesake here. Okay, so you can see how this is the main stem and this is the suckers. And you're going to say, well, how are you knowing which one is which by just looking at it? Well, the sucker always has a leaf that comes off of it. The sucker always grows in the armpit of the main stem is what I like to call it. So if you look here, this is your main stem going up. Can you guys see that? Let me get you a little closer. See how that is the main stem there to your right, and then you've got to your left bottom, you've got a leaf, which is, I can try to do this by myself, which is right here. And this right here is growing in the armpit. That is going to be considered your sucker. This is your main stem. Your sucker always grows in the armpit of another leaf node. So let me show you. So this is a perfect example right here. Look at this example right there. You see your main stem on the bottom, you see your leaf going out right here, and then you see your sucker right there. There's no need to, take a lot of time doing this. You just want to cut them off, go through here and look. I'm going to take this sucker out here, pull this sucker out here, and then I'm looking here, and I've got 2 stems. Now, once again, we're about to break some hearts. Even though this has got buds on it and potential fruit, we're going to take that off because we do not need that. We are a 1-stem family here. So I'm going to come through. I'm going to kind of be careful because, this has been growing a specific way now since it has been laying down for the most part. It hasn't been trellised straight up, so it's been growing a specific way. You see the bends and cricks in it. The last thing you want to do is come through here after you trim everything up and decide what you're going to do. The last thing you want to do is come through here and snap this off. But the good thing is it's not all things are lost, on this. This is an indeterminate tomato. We've talked about that where they will keep growing. So what I like to do, if I do happen to snap, let's say for instance, God forbid, I snap this off up here and I top this plant off and I'm throwing a fit right now, getting mad at myself and, throwing tools around the high tunnel and stuff like that. Hey, take a break, chill out. I'm here to tell you just, whoo-sah. Take a break. Find your nearest sucker. And then what I like to do is I like to trim it down to about 1 inch above that sucker. And then I just let that sucker take over. It will, trust me, within a week, it will look like this. There's no doubt about it. So there's nothing to be worried about. I used to get upset at myself every time I did that or with a cucumber, but now I've learned if you do happen to snap the top off just on accident, just trim it down to about 1/2 inch to 1 inch of where the sucker is. Let that sucker take over, and then at that point, you can let it go. But you can see how I've got the clip right here. I don't have it at the very top. I've got it down here because I do not want to put so much pressure on the top. I don't want to break it. The goal is not to break it. The goal is to grow healthy tomato plants. So instead of trying to force this up, I'm going to put it down here at the last strength of a node here, and then I'm going to let itself, today will curve itself back up and try to climb this trellis. I know it sounds weird for all of you that have never done it before, but it will, trust me. It may take a couple days, but it will get there. So we're going to trim these leaves. A lot of people will leave these leaves, like I said, we've talked about this where you can. It kind of shades the fruit out a little bit and doesn't have the intense sun on it. But, I don't know. I haven't found any difference on it, so I like to intensely prune. We've talked about that. I may even do that. How's that? And then pull everything off the base. I want a clean stem. You notice how this is starting to pop around here. So what I will do is I will just, there you go, just like that, kind of clean it up. I use itself as a perch. Now we've got the same thing here. We've got a split here, and some people will take this split and they will do a second leader off of this and trellis. I don't have the time to take care of a second leader. We've talked about that, and I do not have the time or the money to buy another 600 of these tomahawks to do all these tunnels. So we do 1 liter here. 1 liter is good enough. It gets you a lot of fruit, a lot of big fruit. And so we're going to, once again, snap off that, come in here. Always want to put the hook underneath of a stem, because as that grows, stem's going to help you support the weight. But yeah, just like that. That looks good. We move down the line to the next one here. That's the one in the other row. We don't want this one. We want this one. We're working in this row today, or this row this morning, and then as we come back, we'll work on the backside. So that way you're not trying to jump around here or walk around. You just go from row to row. Okay, look at this real quick. And I'll bring you guys in tight here in just a minute. I'm just kind of showing you the outside there. There we go. Look at that. See that? Yeah, I trimmed off 4 or 5 there. There we go. Get nice airflow in here. Tomatoes want a lot of dry stems. They don't like to be wet, so you don't want to make them wet. If you make them wet, they get sick. So you don't want to do that. You look over here and you say, oh man, look at all the pretty little blooms. Oh man, that's going to be great. And you take care of that one. That one didn't set any fruit because it was hot in here, so we're going to cut that out. You want to take off anything. There's another one there. You want to take that sucker out there, just like that. Throw that one out. Come here in the armpit. Pull sucker. Pull sucker. No sucker there yet. Look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful looking. We got fruit up here. We've got more clusters here, and we've got more starting out here. So you want to gently weave. I like to weave it, and I like to use itself as a crutch, depending on the way it grows. So that way I don't have to use as many of these clips. These clips are they're cheap, but they're pretty expensive when you have to buy 3, 4, 5,000 of them. So there you go. See that? It's gonna grow straight now. Once it gets to the top of that, we'll pull it off. And we'll just work our way down the line here. Here, grab this beautiful plant. Look at everything. Say, that one, that one, that one. Remember, everything below the first set of fruit you want to get rid of. That one's got a little sucker there. That leaf right there is not really doing us any good. Neither is this one here because it's on the back side. The sun's to the south there. So we're going to look and say, up, sucker, get rid of you. Sucker, get rid of you. Sucker, get rid of you. And as we work our way to the top, we see another little sucker here. Sucker, get rid of you. Get rid of you, sucker. Okay, so grab a cup. Just gonna come through here and do our thing. Just like that. Now she's ready to go. She's looking good. Gotta get the girl to the ball. That's how you make her pretty. Pretty looking girl. Pretty looking girl. All right, so we come through here. So, like these heirlooms, these are not what they call greenhouse or high tunnel specific varieties. So if they didn't get pollinated either by the wind or bees or anything coming through here, they may or may not have pollinated correctly. So I know they still will, but it's just like anything else. But that's the reason why they just didn't get pollinated, or the heat was too hot, and it does not like to set buds, or buds do not like to bloom when it is super hot. They will fall. And sometimes in high tunnels, like I said, we looked at that temperature gauge. It got to 118 in here yesterday. Fruit does not like to grow, when it's over 100 some degrees. It will grow, it did. They all didn't die, but it's not good on it. Stresses them out a lot. Once again, they're in that fight or flight situation. When it's super, super hot, they're like people being somewhere where it's super, super hot. So, nobody likes to be 118 degrees. So we'll let that go like that. This one is obviously in the other. You need to know your role there and get in your own lane. You can see I've had to come in here for a while now, but we just haven't, since this has been so hot out. So we're going to do this. About to break hearts. There we go. There's another one with fruit on it. Yeah, just kind of work our way up through here. we are coming to the end here. It's been about an hour and a half. No, yeah, it's probably been an hour since you guys saw me in that time lapse. Just taking my time, working my way through all this, and just kind of clean stuff up. We'll do a small walkthrough on the when I'm done here. I'm gonna be done here in just a minute. Just coming through and cleaning some of this up here. Some of these plants, we'll talk about that here in a second. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna pull one up here. There we go. We got a big girl right here. So the only thing, some of these plants are pretty small. As you can see, this one's pretty small for, this may have been one that got topped too. Let's get this whole process, I only topped 2 plants, believe it or not. This one's going to have a ton of fruit on here. So what we are going to do is I'm going to cut those off, even though they're fruit. I almost want to just cut, because you want to try to concentrate to get bigger fruit. That's the end game here, is bigger fruit. I'm going to let that go. I've done enough disappointment today. So I'm going to let this go, and we'll see if we get anything out of this. If we don't get anything out of this, then I'll go ahead and cut that off. That should be good right there. So I think that's pretty good right there. Time to put these weapons of mass destruction up. So I think everything looks good. You can see all the damage on the ground here. But we do have everything trellised up for the most part. As you can see, as we come through here, we are not all the way to the top. So I am not going to lower and lean today like I would the cucumbers that have reached the top. I lower and lean those yesterday to get them more space. You can see how some of them started here, worked their way around, and is now here. So like this one here, see, this one almost reached the top here. So as the lower and lean process, it lowers down and then you come up. So when it grows up to here by next week, I'll do the same thing. Same thing with these girls here. I'm going to let them chill for a week. And looks like I may have missed one right there. Huh. Okay, well, I'll have to fix that. Hey guys, that's where I'm going to leave the video today. I know it's a little boring today. It's kind of the same old, but I just wanted to emphasize that this is 100% of our market garden journey right now. It's a lot of suckering, a lot of pruning, a lot of trellising, and a lot of fruit gathering. So unfortunately, when you grow this many cucumbers, this many tomatoes all the time, this is what you have to do. It's not always just hanging out watching things. You've got to keep this house under control. If you do not, it will become a jungle in here, and then you will not be able to harvest anything. You'll have a lot of small fruit. You'll have a lot of misshapen fruit. You want the most healthiest, biggest fruit you can, because we do sell by the pound. So the bigger the tomatoes weigh, the more money we make. But I do promise things are going to start looking up. I'm actually going to start on this next high tunnel here in the next couple weeks. My wife's boss is going on vacation, and he has a bobcat and a water trencher attachment for the bobcat. He's going to drop off a couple buckets. He's going to drop off the water trencher. And so we're going to trench all the water lines into this high tunnel here, and we are going to start working on that 20 by 60 high tunnel over there, so I can get ready to start putting salad mix in it for the fall. Yes, I know it's mid-July, but we are already thinking about our fall crops going into the winter. You want to make sure you have all your fall crops in the ground, almost full grown by the time winter comes, because everything slows down, not enough daylight, cooler temperatures. Lettuce loves it, but you're only getting 8-9 hours at the least amount here in Kansas. We need 10 hours for good growth. So I want to make sure everything's about 75% the size before we start hitting that 9-hour time frame. But anyway, guys, I will talk to you later. Oh yeah, make sure that you guys follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Summer Pick Farms, and I will see you later. Bye.